Students, this is 11th class biology chapter 7 structural organization in animals, and this is lecture number 3. Today we will discuss about muscle tissues and neural tissues. So let's start our lecture with muscle tissue. So a muscle tissue is made up of muscle cells, and all these muscle cells present in our muscle tissue are called muscle fibers. So the tissues made of many muscle fibers or muscle cells. These muscle fibers are composed of numerous fine myofibrils. Here you can see the structure of a muscle fiber. Okay, many such muscle fibers are present in a muscle, or you can say in a muscle tissue. And in this muscle fiber, you can see these myofibrils. All these are myofibrils present in a muscle fiber. These are present here. This one myofibril is shown like this here. So these numerous myofibrils are present in a muscle fiber. Muscle fibers can contract, it means these can shorten, and these can relax, means lengthen. Okay, so muscle fibers can contract or relax, which is important for the contraction and relaxation of muscle. And you know, contraction and relaxation of muscle is required for the movement. Muscles take part in locomotion and movement. That's why we can say, due to this contraction and relaxation property, muscles take part in locomotion and movement. So this is structure of muscle fiber, and many such muscle fibers are present in a muscle. Now, types of muscles or muscle tissue, you can say. Okay, so there are three types of muscles: skeletal or striated or voluntary muscles. Skeletal muscles are also called striated muscles or voluntary muscles. So skeletal muscles. Second, smooth muscles, which are also called non-striated or visceral muscles. Third is cardiac muscles. So let's start with first type of muscles. Those are skeletal muscles, and these muscles are attached to bones. That's why these are called skeletal muscles. Okay, these are attached to bones. For example, muscles present in our biceps are skeletal muscles. Okay, these are skeletal muscles, and striations are present in muscle fibers. As you can see here, these are skeletal muscles, and these are different bands you can see here. These are striations. These are called strips or striations. So due to presence of these striations in these muscles, these are also called striated muscles. Okay, striated muscles, because of presence of striations. Muscle fibers are bundled together in a parallel fashion. As you can see here, these are bundled together and these are parallel to each other, right? A sheath of tough connective tissue encloses several bundles of muscle fiber. So a sheath is present which encloses several bundles of such muscle fibers, and these muscles are voluntary because we can move these muscles, you know, we can move our limbs, our hands and legs according to our wish. That's why these are called voluntary muscles. So skeletal muscles are called striated muscle due to presence of striations, and voluntary muscles because we can move them accordingly. The next type of muscles are smooth muscles, and these are called involuntary muscles because we cannot move these muscles according to our wish. And these are fusiform. Fusiform means fibers taper at both ends. So this shape is called fusiform because here you can see these pointed ends, okay, on both sides. So these tapering ends, both ends are tapering. That's why this form is fusiform. This shape is fusiform. And here no striations are present in these muscles. In skeletal muscles, you have seen that striations were present there, but no striations are seen here. That's why these are non-striated muscles. These are also called non-striated muscles. Next is cell junctions hold them together, and they are bundled together in a connective tissue sheath. So these muscles are also bundled together, and between these between the fibers, there are junctions to hold them together. They are seen in the wall of internal organs. So this is the location that where these smooth muscles are present. These are present in wall of our internal organs, such as blood vessels, stomach and intestine. So here in the intestine, in the stomach, okay, and in our blood vessels also, like one blood vessel, this is diagram of small intestine. So in small intestine, stomach and also in blood vessels, smooth muscles are found, and we cannot move these muscles present in our internal organs according to our wish. That's why these are non-voluntary muscles. Next type of muscle is cardiac muscles. And cardiac muscles are also involuntary like smooth muscles. And their one feature is similar to those of skeletal muscle, and that is presence of striations, as you can see here also. These striations are present in these muscles, okay. So one feature is similar to the skeletal muscle and one feature is similar to the smooth muscle, that is these are also involuntary like smooth muscles, okay. So these are involuntary muscles seen only in the heart. So these cardiac muscles are found in our heart only. That's why these are cardiac word is related to heart, okay. Cell junctions fuse the plasma membrane of the cells and make them stick together. As you can see here, this is plasma membrane of these two muscles are connected with each other, okay. These plasma and these cells are stick together. Communication junction, that is also called intercalated disc. These are intercalated disc present here. These are communication junctions, allow the cells to contract as a unit. So whenever one cell will contract, entire unit, means entire unit in which many muscle cells are present, so that entire unit contracts, because communication junctions are present between these cells of cardiac muscle, and those communication junctions which make them contract as a unit are called intercalated disc. That is, when one cell receives a signal to contract, its neighbor cell are also contracted. Why? Because of presence of these communication junctions. So this is structure of heart, and here cardiac muscles are present. So here you need to make all these diagrams for the striated muscles, for the non-striated muscles, and for the cardiac muscles also, okay. Make all these three diagrams of each type of muscle. Next is neural tissue. So neural tissue is made up of neurons. Neurons, you can say a unit of neural tissue, okay, or we can say unit of our neural system, right. This is a diagram for a neuron having different parts. Now this neural tissue, or you can say neurons, are responsible for control and coordination of the body, okay. The function of all our body organs, all our body parts are controlled by neural tissue with the help of neurons, you can say, right. These neurons are excitable cells. Excitable cells means when these neurons get any signal, get any stimuli from the external environment, electric impulse is generated inside these neurons, which get transferred, or you can say a signal is transferred from the stimuli location to the effector organ to take an action, okay. So that signal goes in the form of impulse, in the form of electric signal, okay, and that is called impulse. So we can say that neurons carry impulses. Impulses is a type of signal, you can say, electric signal, which passes through the neuron, right. That's why we are saying neurons are excitable cell, because these receives stimuli and get excited and carry the impulses or carry the signal to the effector organ. Neurons are protected and supported by neuroglial cell. So these neuroglial cells are also part of our nervous system, you can see. Along with the neurons or nerve cells, many neuroglial cells are also present in our nervous system. Neuroglia or neuroglial cells, you can say, make up more than half the volume of neural tissue. The complete neural tissue, this in this diagram you can see this complete neural tissue. So many neurons are present here, and surrounding the neurons many neuroglial cells, or you can say neuroglia, that is also present, and that is also a part of our neural tissue, right? So here you can see this is the diagram of a neuron. Axon, these dendrites, this axon part, okay, cell body, all these dendrites present here. So this is a complete structure of a neuron, and here also this is cell body and these dendrites are shown here of a neuron, and surrounding this neuron all this tissue you can see here, this is neuroglia, okay, all these are neuroglial cells. So this complete neural tissue is formed with the help of neurons and neuroglial cells. Now based on today's lecture, your homework is NCERT question number 7 B part, 9th question B part, and 10th question of NCERT part A, B and C. Now the remaining part of this chapter is not in your syllabus, so you need to do this chapter only up to this topic, right? After this tomorrow an assignment will be given, so you need to do that assignment based on these topics only, right? After that we will start next chapter. Thank you. Now let's discuss the homework solutions of previous lecture. So question number 6 of NCERT was given as homework, and the question is, what are the cellular components of blood? So the cellular components of blood are RBC, WBC and platelets. Means plasma is not included here because only cellular components are asked, okay? So you tell about all the cells, RBCs, WBCs and platelets. Next is question number 7 of NCERT. A and C parts were given as homework, and this A part of this question is where do you find chondrocytes in animal body? So answer is chondrocytes are the cells of cartilage, right? Cartilage is present in tip of our nose, outer ear joints, between adjacent bones of vertebral column, or you can say between the vertebrae, okay? The bones, vertebrae are present in our vertebral column, and between those vertebrae cartilages are present, right? Between bones of limbs also, and hands in adults, okay? So all these are locations of chondrocytes or cartilage cells, you can say. They are rounded, large and mature cells that are found occurring in clusters in matrix of cartilage. These chondrocytes are cells. So these are some features of these chondrocytes. Next is part C of 7th question, and that where ciliated epithelium is found in our body. So if the columnar or cuboidal cells bear cilia on their free surface, they are called ciliated epithelium, right? They are present in the inner surface of hollow organs like bronchioles. You know, bronchioles are part of the respiratory system, and fallopian tubes. Fallopian tube is part of reproductive system of female, right? It comprises of fine vibratile cytoplasmic processes that are termed as cilia. In ciliated epithelium, these vibratile processes, or you can see hair-like processes, are present, which are called cilia, found on its free surface. This cilia is functional in trapping foreign substances and dust. So where it is present, these cilia are present, these are present in bronchioles. So there in the bronchioles, their function is to trap the foreign substances and dust, right? And in fallopian tube, they help in transport of ova. So location of ciliated epithelium is in bronchioles and in fallopian tube for a specific function. Next is question number 9, and C, D and E part of question number 9 were given as homework, and part C is differentiate between dense regular and dense irregular connective tissue. Then D is differentiate adipose and blood tissue, and then E part is simple gland and compound gland difference. Okay, so let's start with the difference of dense regular and dense irregular connective tissue. Dense regular connective tissue. Here regular patterns of fibers is observed. So fibers are arranged in a regular pattern in dense regular connective tissue, and in case of dense irregular connective tissue, irregular patterns of fibers is observed. That fibers are present in an irregular pattern. Dense regular connective tissue are present in tendons and ligaments, while irregular connective tissue is found in our skin. Next is difference between adipose tissue and blood tissue. So adipose tissue is made up of collagen fibers, fibroblast, macrophages and adipocyte. All these cells are present in adipose tissue, while blood tissue consists of RBCs, WBCs, platelets and plasma. Okay, so these different types of components are present in adipose tissue and blood tissue. Next difference is adipose tissue is a loose connective tissue, while blood tissue is a fluid connective tissue, or you can say a specialized connective tissue, right? Adipose tissue, its function is to synthesize, store and metabolize the fat, right? Adipose tissue, you can say fat tissue. So its function is to synthesize, store and metabolize the fats, while you know that blood tissue function is different from that. Blood tissue function is to transport food, gases, hormones and waste substances. So all these substances are transported through blood tissue, so it is involved in transportation mainly. Adipose tissue is present beneath the skin, while blood tissue is it is present in the blood vessels. Next is difference between simple gland and compound gland. Simple gland contain isolated glandular cells, means only a isolated single cell will be present here in a simple gland, while in compound gland cluster of secretory cells are present. The whole cluster of many cells make a compound gland. Simple gland are unicellular because these are made up of a single cell, right? While in compound glands, because a cluster of cells is present, that's why these are multicellular. Examples of simple glands are goblet cells of alimentary canal, like which are found in our digestive system, and example of compound gland is salivary gland.